Hello, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm driving. That was a lot of energy. Yeah, so I'm driving right now. I'm being safe. I'm not really gonna look at the camera. I just wanted to tell people what the hell's been going on, because there has been a lot going on, and I hope that this is an okay format, because that's all I can handle right now. So yeah, here's what's been going on in my life. Well, so today's Thursday, the 10th. Last Thursday, my grandmother passed away, and I was really close with her. Basically what happened is she was admitted to the hospital on Tuesday, and she just had some chest pains, which turned out to be a heart attack. And we knew she was kind of in bad shape, but I didn't know how bad it was. And I was in college in Boston, and I was planning on coming home today, October 10th or 11th or whatever. Sorry. Thursday. I was planning, I had a trip planned already, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll see her next weekend. But on last Thursday morning, I got a text from my cousin, and I'd been calling my family, but the text was just you need to come now. Basically, if you want to see her, come now. And so I was in class when I received that text, and I kind of stepped out. I was able to get some plane tickets through my uncle, who was really generous and used his miles on me. And I basically skipped my next class, packed in 30 minutes. My friend Lal came into the room, and I was losing my mind. I remember her being like, have you packed underwear? Have you packed socks? It was very helpful. Thank you, Lal. I love you. And yeah, I just packed up everything so fast, and I was on a plane. That was actually one of the first flights from Boston to LAX that has been delayed for me. And that was fucking, what do you even call it? You're just you can't do anything, and you're just wringing your hands. When I got off of the plane, I called everyone they were all at the hospital, and her condition had worsened. And basically my boyfriend came to pick me up from the airport, and we were just no stops, no bathroom breaks, nothing. It was just off the plane, into the car, go to the hospital. And I called the hospital on the way. I'd already talked to them, but I called them on the way, and I said, I don't want to go and get the visitor sticker and sign in, because I know she's dying right now. And my family was all saying she might not make it. And I kept saying just tell her I'm coming. So what happened is the hospital was okay, we can buzz you in, come in this door. And it was very immediate. So I was kind of running through the hospital, and then there was one point where there was another door that I needed to be buzzed into, and I was shaking. I felt like the floor was moving underneath me, and I think I was about to faint type of thing. I don't know, I've never fainted, but I've never felt that way before. It was crazy, and I was so hopped up on adrenaline, and I was sweating, and oh my god, it's it's the scariest moment. Anyway, so we were let in within, I don't know, 30 seconds, and I ran down the hallway, found her room. The nurses were really great, and she was just very close to dying. But I remember I came in, and I said, it's me, and she moved her jaw, just kind of trying to say something, which, I mean, for her condition was a really big deal for her to do. and I kind of just held her hand, and I was stroking her hair, and I was crying onto her shoulder. And sometime during that time, she died, and she waited for me, which is like so freaking special, and I'm just so happy that I made it, and that I was able to see her, and that everything worked out. So that happened on Thursday, and then I just kind of also wanted to explain like where I've been and what I've been doing, because I know I've been really like not texting anyone. I've been really silent. I haven't even told some people. Like, I think I told like 3 friends, and then they just kind of told everyone else. And I know mostly my friends watch my channel, so like this is for you guys. But that was a lot, and it was a very emotional time. I just want to say, like, there has been a lot of crying, and I feel like right now I'm just not in that mood right now. I don't know if anyone's like, wow, why aren't you crying? And the other thing I wanted to say is, I know that she wanted to die this way. She was 83, by the way, so this wasn't like a huge tragedy or anything. And sorry for the lighting, like that's whatever, just gonna happen. But it wasn't like super tragic. I know she wanted to die like fast. She talked about death a lot. She was very open about this. She even had this binder called Death and Dying. We kind of like made fun of her for it always, because she was like so prepared. But in that folder she had like, this is what I want to be wearing, this is the kind of casket I want, I want this poem to be read at my funeral, stuff like that. It's just very organized. But she wanted to die fast. She didn't want to like linger in a hospital bed for months on a respirator type of situation. So I think she would have been really happy with just, 3 days in the hospital. Her whole family and some friends were around her, and it was just, as death goes, I think it was really good for her, and I think she would be happy with the way it happened. So man, I feel like I should have put like maybe a trigger warning at the beginning, but I'll title the video something like what happened, and then something about death. So the next day, and also this video, like, it's meant to be like what I've been doing, where I've been, so I don't want to like get into her life too much, and maybe I can do a video with my cousin, because we both loved her so much, and yeah, but I just kind of want to like separate that from this video. So the next day, we started planning funeral arrangements and making phone calls, and letting people know what had happened, and inviting them to the funeral, and getting a date for the funeral and the burial, which are 2 separate events sometimes. And that's when I kind of realized, like, we have a lot of work to do. And my return ticket was booked for Sunday morning at like 8 a.m. So at the time, I still thought I was going to go home on Sunday. So Saturday was just spent like with family, and we're basically just doing a lot of like funeral prep and making a ton of phone calls. And then on Sunday, we went to set up, actually maybe it was Saturday, God, the days are going together. We went to go set up the church for her wake. And like, I don't know if everyone knows what a wake is, but basically she was part of what's called the Christian community, which is a specific kind of church that focuses on anthroposophy. It's like a whole thing, but I love her church a lot. And so there's an altar, and then they have the casket in a room where people can come visit. any time for 3 days before the funeral. So my cousin and I set up the altar, which was very beautiful, and it just kind of like, I think I'll post it on Instagram just to be like, this is what's been going on. And it was very beautiful. It had like amethyst, which was her birthstone, and then some eucalyptus and some baby's breath and a picture of her when she was young, just that kind of thing. But when I was at the church, there were some people there and we were talking, and I just kind of started to realize, like, I really don't want to miss this. Like, I kind of grew up going to her church, sort of. Like, I had my own church, but I went to hers a lot. Sorry, I'm stuffy. But it just holds so many memories, and I remember, like, just standing in a particular spot and being like, having a vivid memory from the past where I was wearing her shoes, and I was like maybe 12, and I was with her at church, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go back to school right now. And I didn't think I would feel like that. I thought I would actually be like, I don't want to be at the funeral, and plus I have work to do. So on Sunday, actually this was on Saturday, and it was Saturday night, and I remember I was like, oh my God, am I staying? Am I gonna miss a week of school? Can I do that? And eventually deciding, like, I can miss a week of school because it's just a week of classes. It's 2 days per class that I'm probably gonna forget in 6 months. I, don't mean that offensively, but like, this is my grandmother's funeral, and I was very close with her, and this is like a very hard time, and I want to be with my family, and so that's how I made the decision. I emailed all my teachers the next day, and they were all very understanding, and since then I've just been doing preparations for the funeral, and then the funeral service was on Tuesday, and then the burial was on Wednesday, and then that was in Riverside, so that was like an all-day thing. I've been waking up pretty early most days and really not having a lot of personal time. I just want to make that clear, because I do feel like there's an expectation for me to like get homework done, and like, that is so not happening. I'm like, this is the first like good chunk of free time I've had in a while. I don't know, I'm just so much busier than I would have imagined I would be. And then this morning, woke up at like 9, and we went to go clean up my grandma's apartment and just box everything up and then bring it to my aunt's guest house, which is like, really lucky that we have all that space that we can put some items in. I feel like we would end up getting rid of a lot more if we didn't have the house to put stuff in. And now I'm going to my mom's house because I have a carload of stuff that she wants and that I also want to keep, and I just want to have some time to organize it before I go back to school. So basically that's it. I like sharing about my life, and I wanted everyone to know like how special it was and how I made it in time to see my grandmother before she died, and how I've been incredibly busy, and also I'm a little worried about the future because I've been with people almost constantly, and so when last night I had like a moment alone, like a few hours, and I was like, oh I was like, ooh, like I don't feel great. Like just kind of empty and depressed, and I was already like not feeling super great before I left, and so I'm really worried about coming back and being happy and fucking catching up in school. I'm really nervous. But it does feel really great to just talk about it, and I don't know, like I'm not worried about what anyone's gonna say about me being gone, but I'm really happy that I have an outlet for this, and that I have like friends who will want to listen. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I can really think of to say right now. I just feel like I wanted to explain why I was gone and what the hell's been going on in my life. Yeah. All right. I'll be back in Boston soon. I'll be back on Monday night. Really late. But I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone, and yeah, that's all. Bye.